Hey DIYers, Mike Borders with the Mike Borders channel. Thank you for watching. In today's video, we're talking toilets, and we're going to show you the step-by-step process on how to install a brand new toilet with all the important details that you probably won't see in all the other videos. Let's take a look. All right, YouTubers, back in the bathroom, picking up right where we left off in the previous video of removing this toilet. And what I have here is a small 99-cent knife you can get at your local hardware store. And in most cases, you have a caulk or silicone bead around the base of your toilet. And we want to remove all of that with this knife prior to moving to the next step. And as you do this, do your absolute best not to harm the floor. And it should come up pretty easy. Just spend a couple minutes and get it all off. Making progress, got that entire bead removed from the floor, and another 99-cent investment, a small putty knife. We are going to begin removing all of this wax ring all the way down to the flange. Make sure you get this inner ring here that falls down into the plumbing. Next, get down into the groove that the Johnny bolts go in and remove as much of that wax as you can. Next, I want to talk about this white flange that connects to the inner plumbing underneath your floor. And this part is held in by a few bolts, and I want you to do your best to inspect it. In the event that you see any signs of cracking along the entire portion of this flange, I highly recommend replacing it with a brand new flange, and you can purchase these at your local hardware store for just a few dollars. In addition, you've got two Johnny bolts that the toilet secures to with that nut that we removed earlier, and depending on how your setup will depend on whether or not you use the old Johnny bolts or new Johnny bolts that come with the new wax ring. In our case, we have additional wood shims underneath this flange to properly level this flange. And because of that, our Johnny bolts are solidly secured to this flange. We are going to use the old Johnny bolts. In addition, measure the base of your toilet that loops onto this Johnny bolt. And in the event that it is the exact same height as your brand new toilet, you are good to use these old Johnny bolts. If your new toilet is a lot thicker, you may need to remove this flange to remove your Johnny bolts and install the new ones. From here, the putty knife is junk, and I'll vacuum this up. From here, we've got the toilet, the tank, and the new toilet seat. New toilet out of the box in the bathroom, and what a lot of people forget to mention or recommend is a dry run. I highly recommend lifting the toilet up and resting the toilet in place over the flange on the Johnny bolts just to verify that the back portion of your toilet clears your plumbing in the rear where your shutoff valve is. All right, YouTubers, our dry run worked out good. And if you've got a standard install, your Johnny bolts are 12 inches or 1 foot from the wall to the studs. In the event that yours is 10 inches, it is extremely important to do a dry run prior to putting on that wax ring. From here, let's open up the wax ring. Wax ring out of the box, I am going to use the plastic washers with the new Johnny bolts. I'll set those aside. In the back of your box becomes your instruction. Step 1, place bolts in floor flange, secure with a retainer washer. We don't have to do that because we already have our Johnny bolts installed from the old toilet. On to step 2, hold wax gasket level in one hand, wax facing up. With other hand, gently loosen plastic tray from wax gasket around the center by pulling down. Turn wax gasket upside down and gently squeeze wax out of tray. And as you can see here, it's got this little center hole. Go ahead and push that out, just like that. Step 3, press the wax ring over horn outlet of the toilet bowl, as shown here. And apply evenly pressure around. And as you apply pressure, this piece right here is plastic. Do not harm it or break it or bend it. Step 4, set bowl in place and use body weight to compress wax. Twist bowl slightly to spread wax. Prior to doing that, don't forget to remove that towel or rag you had to prevent sewer gases from coming out of your plumbing. YouTubers, that step should be pretty friendly. On to step 5. Place washer and nut on bolt. Tighten bolts carefully to prevent breaking bolt. We are not going to do step 5 yet. We're going to toss that box because inside the tank box that goes on top of the toilet is these instructions and additional washers. These washers are important. They've got a cupped bevel design to them, and these have to go on first. So at this point, refer to the instruction manual inside your tank box. And on to step 3. The pictorial image shows this plastic piece on first with the cup portion down, then the washer, then the nut, then the cap. In addition, you will notice a little indent on the plastic cap. That is to be faced outward, so you can use a tool to pop this off on a future date. Next, grab the washer and the nut. To the opposite side, insert the plastic washer, then the metal washer, and secure that nut. What I recommend next is, prior to securing those nuts to the Johnny bolts, take a minute and verify that your toilet is as straight as possible and in the exact position you want it. Once you're happy with the position of the toilet, go ahead and grab your socket and ratchet and carefully secure each nut. And what I recommend is tighten it slightly on this side, hop to the opposite side, tighten it on that side, and then continue tightening the nuts in sequence to properly seat this toilet on the Johnny bolt and wax ring. Next, we need to cut the top portion of that Johnny bolt so we can install our caps. And grab a small little hacksaw. This was $4.99 at my local hardware store. And most Johnny bolts have indents on them as shown here. Go ahead and align the hacksaw blade with the indent and cut all the way through it. Making progress, YouTubers. Almost through. Again, just be careful, because the last thing you want to do is snap your blade. Next, secure the caps on each side. You may have to use a little bit of force. You want to push until it clicks. I may need both hands. Now it's time to install the tank. Tank is out of the box. I have rested it on its side with the handle up, and you've got a triangle pattern with the threaded studs. You've got 3 washers, 3 nuts, and this rubber seal here is what creates that watertight seal on the back portion of your toilet. From here, properly align your triangle pattern studs to the triangle pattern on the rear portion of your toilet. Tank is installed, and from here, underneath, you have your washers and nuts. And what I highly recommend as you tighten those nuts, do it in sequence, meaning tighten this right nut until it's hand tight, hop to the left side, tighten it until it's hand tight, hop to the back, and continue that process so you properly and evenly seat those rubber seals. And if yours is like ours, a 13mm socket. After securing those nuts in sequence, grab a level and verify you are level both side to side and front to back. Now to the back lower left, grab your brand new water supply line. I highly recommend not using the old one. Verify that your rubber gasket is properly seated on each side and secure it to the bottom portion of your toilet. And do your absolute best not to cross thread this. Don't over tighten it, however, you want it pretty snug to seat that gasket to create that watertight seal. Now down to the bottom. After securing the supply line, it's time to install the seat. I do want to add, most toilets do not come with a seat. So when it comes time for toilet shopping, double check that you're buying a toilet with a seat. If you're not, you will need to buy an extra seat. And in our case, we got a toddler potty training seat. Let's go and open it. Grab the inner hardware and take note of the pictorial image. Make sure you are inserting all parts properly. And you'll see on the top portion here, you have an arrow, and that goes in line with this piece. So the arrow will go in as shown here. Next, pop the caps off as shown here. And the pictorial image has the arrows going in line with the insert and the threaded bolt portion facing down. Push in until it clicks. Do that for both sides. Both sides are complete, and close the caps until they click. Now it's time to pick the seat up and rest it in those 2 holes. Next, grab the additional hardware, insert it as shown here, and hand tighten it. After hand tightening that part to the lower thread, properly align your seat to your best ability. Grab a 5/8 socket and secure that lower part until the bottom cap snaps off, believe it or not. And do that for both sides. Potty seat is secured. I'm going to carefully lift it up and install the toddler potty seat right down on those 2 lower hinges right there. Push until the seat snaps in place. Just like that. I'll carefully close the seat and double check everything prior to turning on the water. After you've checked everything, you can then turn on the water. Turn to the left. Patiently wait until your tank fills all the way up and the float valve turns off the water. While it's filling, double check all the fittings and verify no leaks. As the tank fills up with water, most tanks have a water level line that the water is supposed to stop. And in the event that it goes above that line, this little Phillips screw insert right here, you will turn it counterclockwise a couple turns and that will lower the water. From here we are going to flush the toilet, open up the seat first, and test it. Good. Close the seat, and I recommend flushing it 3 to 5 times before moving on to the next step. Again, because we're checking for leaks. Next, install your tank lid as shown here, and I grab the level just to verify again it is level. And from here, a lot of people go right into applying the caulk or silicone bead around the base of the toilet. However, what I recommend is laying down paper towel as shown here and working it into the seam between the floor and the base of the toilet. And over the next couple days of using the toilet, this will give you the best verification and trust that your wax ring is properly seated and there are no leaks. And after about a week of using this toilet and I see no signs of leaking up top nor down below at the base, I'll apply that silicone bead. And let me grab the silicone. Make sure you get silicone specifically for tub and tile. So hopefully this helps, YouTubers. Do us a favor, below the video you'll see that thumbs up icon. Click on that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, definitely ring your YouTube bell. That would be very helpful to us and we would really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching.